This is Wilson Morales from Black Film and TV talking to Julissa Bermudez and Sanya Richards-Ross, the co-hosts of Central Ave. You're back for season 2. Before we get started, let's talk about what is the inception of the show and what makes it different from what you see currently on TV.
We're actually back for our first season. What you saw originally was a 5-week test run. So in this entertainment world, as you know, it can be quite a journey and crazy before you actually even make it on TV and into people's homes. So Sanya and we met during the process of the audition. Then we got the pilot, which is the show that you have to present to the network. And then when they like it, then they give us the test run, which is what you guys saw. And a lot of people, especially if you're not familiar with how the TV world works, you would think it's the first season, but this is our official first season. So it counts more than ever.
And how many episodes are we getting for the first season?
We're signed on to do 35 episodes. We air every weekend. In some cities, we're on for an hour, 2 30-minute shows back to back. And in some cities, we're on 30 minutes on Saturday and 30 minutes on Sunday. So we're in your home for 35 weeks and hopefully 35 years.
Yes.
No dish. That's like a Tyler Perry front. 35 weeks. Okay. That's good to know. Now, in terms of the stories that you're coming up with, are we talking the next day, or is it something that you're producing that comes on days later?
Wilson, because we are on a weekly basis, we basically are gathering these stories of pop culture and what everybody is talking about. By the time you get to watch Central Ave, you're going to have all the facts laid out for you. You are getting the most investigative point of view when it comes to entertainment news, because we are on for an hour, whether it is broken up into 2 30-minute shows back to back or within 2 days throughout the weekend. So it really gives us time to give you all of the things that you need to know so that you can, as the viewer, formulate your own opinion on everything that has to do with entertainment news.
Now, obviously, when you're talking about the show, it's 30 minutes. Is there a breakdown as to how much time you're going to spend per topic? Like obviously if you have an interview, there's time there, or if there's a certain topic that's big enough that you can't just do 5 minutes worth of it.
Right. So our show is broken down into very unique and distinct segments. We start off our show with our traffic jam, and that's usually where we have the more fast-paced, quick updates on stories that everybody's been talking about that we know people want to get updated on and informed on. The meat of our show, though, is usually our central story, and that is where we really investigate a specific topic. This week, we're doing hip-hop feminism and really tracking Cardi B, Meg Thee Stallion, and Nicki Minaj and talking about what they have done that we have really never seen before in a male-dominated industry. And so we have our central story. Then at the end of the show, we have a central moment where we come back with something else that we want to give you some more information on. One of the things that makes our show really unique is not only do you see diversity in front of the camera with me and Julissa, the first 2 women of color hosting a show like this, we have so much diversity behind the camera. And I think that's what makes our show so authentic and so real and so different, is that when we talk about a story and you hear, like in our meeting rooms, Julissa, when we're talking about it, and you hear everybody's input and the way that we all perceive the stories and the stories affect us, that gives Julissa and I such a great way to come out and give it to the audience so that they feel like they're receiving every angle, and it's been as investigative and as thoughtful and as thorough as it can be. So, that's what makes our show so different. I think so fun to watch every weekend.
Absolutely.
Is it to a point where you can express your own opinion regarding a topic matter, or do you guys stay away from that and just stick with the facts?
At the end of the day, what we are doing with Central Ave is to really be the vehicle so that, and when we say the right show for right now, we mean it, between the diversity in front of the camera, behind the scenes. Will Packer, as you guys know, doesn't play any games. When he is producing something, he's putting his all into it. And then we have Monique Chanel, who is the other brainchild behind the show. So Monique and Will got together, decided that there was a void in entertainment news, and they wanted to fill that void. And we are the ones doing that by giving you all the information. So it's not really about our opinion. We are the ones giving you everything that we think, that just when you thought you knew the headline or the story of your favorite entertainer, you probably don't until you watch Central Ave and get all of the other facts and things that make up a story and the things behind the headline. So then that's really when you sit down and you say to yourself, wow, I thought I really knew everything that there was to know about this story. For example, last week we did a story, our central story was about the O.J. Simpson case, because its 25-year anniversary. And we got so many messages from people saying, wow, I didn't know this, or I had no idea that that happened when it did back then. And wow, I just got reminded about this time, because it was literally a TV history and the moment that case was. So with Central Ave, same thing this weekend, between the traffic jam that Sanya mentioned, where I'm catching up with Tiny, who is, telling me how she feels about T.I. oversharing and how that affects their family. And then you also have Hip Hop Feminism, our central story. So you really get so much in a show that, trust me, you don't want our opinions. There's not even room for it.
Now let's take me back. Obviously, let's take it back to the audience. How did the show come about for each of you? Did each of you know well, and did you guys know each other? And if you didn't know each other, how long did it take to get the chemistry right? Because we, the audience, have to see that both of you know each other, or it can work.
Yeah, it's a really good question. I was very fortunate to be able to retire from the track and to get the call to come to this audition. To when I heard Will Packer and Monique Chenault were creating this show, I was like, oh my gosh, like they would, they want me on this show. And so we went and we did an audition, and Julissa and we had undeniably the best chemistry. We did chemistry test about 10 people, and it was wonderful. From there, we got selected, and like Julissa mentioned, we had our pilot. We shot our test run. And during those times, we worked really hard behind the scenes to try to build our chemistry. It's hard when you're from two completely different walks of life and you're thrown into this very high pace, high energy workspace. But we went for dinners and did all that stuff before COVID. Yeah. And to know each other and FaceTimed and just really have tried to build it. And I feel like, especially this season, it's just undeniable. It's so much fun to be on set with Julissa, and hopefully people see that and enjoy it.
Because to your point, Wilson, chemistry is something you absolutely cannot fake, and it does take time to build. And I'm glad that it has taken this journey, because if we didn't do the test run, if we didn't shoot the pilot, if we didn't do all these things, we're talking about, 2 years ago now? Yeah. Before you guys are seeing us now to season 1. So throughout that time, we really have gotten a chance to get to know each other outside of being on set, and how our workings are when we are on set.
You mentioned earlier, and obviously it's a fact that, it's two women of color hosting a show. And you think about it, we're in 2020, and you're now behind the scenes and you're doing this, but then you ask yourself, like, why did it take so long for anybody to put two women of color in front? Do you think you have an answer for why do you think it's taking this long? For even to come up with this, we see it on TV every now and then. I live in New York and I watch Good Day New York and I see Lori and Rosanna, and then obviously I'm sure there are other shows out there, but why is there? Why is it that there was a hesitancy to put two women of color in front of the camera?
I feel you, Wilson. I'm from Queens, New York. I was born in Dominican Republic and raised in Queens. So when it comes to being in New York, you don't understand when you go outside of New York and you don't see the amount of diversity, because you grew up in such a place that is literally a melting pot. You get on any New York City subway, any New York City bus, and you have no choice but to interact with people from all kinds of backgrounds and walks of life. So I wish I had an answer for you when it comes to why it hasn't been sooner, but it's also why we say that this is the right show for right now, because we are filling a void that clearly hasn't been filled in a really long time, and ever before, really. Sanya, I know we talk about this all the time.
Yeah, Julissa mentioned it earlier today. These shows are really hard to create. Many of the shows that people will reference, Entertainment Tonight, Access Hollywood, have been on the air for 20, 30 years. And so they're hard shows. And so I think it took a lot of courage for Will Packer and Monique Chenault to decide that this was the time that they were going to put in the work to find two women that they could trust to stand in front of the camera and to tell the stories uniquely. So, you know, there's so many firsts happening in 2020. We talked about that this morning on our call. Like, why is it taking so long for so many things to happen? But I'm so grateful that it is happening and that now we can also, you know, blaze the trail for other minorities and women and men of color to be able to do, you know, these types of things. So it's really exciting.
How long does it take to produce a show? And obviously, as the week goes by, do each of you make your own little notes, like we should cover this, we should cover this, that when you guys get together, either you're meeting in the minds, you know, or you have your, you know, your mandate, like this is what you're going to cover. And then, or do you guys get to add in what else you want to throw in there?
Yeah, our meeting of the minds happens every single morning at 8 a.m. We are on a production call. We are on a video virtual world like we are right now every single day because we are genuinely invested in what is happening in entertainment news, in pop culture, what is everybody talking about. And that's where we get it all out. And it is such a beautiful thing to see, honestly, because it looks like what we are doing right now, you know, behind the scenes and in front of the camera, we are bringing diversity from every angle. And we are, you know, come one, come all. We are here to literally just bring you a fresh perspective. And production wise, for a show like this, to Sanya's point, the other shows that she mentioned, the reason why it's been so long before a Central Ave has come around is because it truly takes, and I don't think a lot of people would ever know that entertainment news magazine shows takes the level of production that it does. And I've honestly, and I've been in this business for a while now, and I've hosted, you know, music countdown shows and other variety shows. And this level of production is like something I've never seen before. And the fact that we are doing it during this time especially is even crazier. But yeah, I mean, our meeting of the minds and everything happens bright and early every single day. And we definitely are in there giving our opinions because that's what makes the show relatable.
You said this was 2 years in the making. It's on now. It's 35 episodes, as you mentioned. You know, are you, you know, were you mentally prepared to go the long haul and hoping successfully that you're going to continue this year after year after year? And that would be my last question.
Absolutely. Our hope for this show is that it becomes a daily show, and that will be on, you know, the TV every single day. And that will be a show that's around for a very long time. I think that we're building the foundation to be able to do that. You know, I think everything happens for a reason. So I'm super excited, and we feel very blessed that we have this weekend show, but we're all working really hard to make this a daily show that brings you the kind of trustworthy news that you look forward to when you come home from work or when you leave your home office into your living room nowadays with the pandemic, that you look forward to turning on your TVs and seeing Julissa and I bring you fresh news and news that makes you feel comfortable, makes you feel heard, makes you feel seen, because I think that's what we do a really good job of doing, is highlighting stories that nobody else highlights. So yes, we are in it for the long haul, and I look forward.
Listen, you're asking an Olympian who I stand next to on a daily basis to do this show if we're going for the long haul. You think you get gold medals not going for the long haul? We're trained for this.
Yes, we are ready. I love it.
Well, yeah, she trained in a different capacity, but I've been waiting all my life, all my career for a show like this. Absolutely.
Well, ladies, it's been fun talking to you. Obviously, keep it going. You know, it's our point to tell the audience that Central Ave is on. Keep it going. Obviously, you have a lot more episodes, so we're not even close to saying wait till next season. We still got this. So keep doing it. You know, get it started. Have a good one.
Thank you so much.
Bye.